I'm Arthur Moats, and I'm here to tell you about my new book, The Moats Theory of Life. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, I strongly encourage you to. This book not only is a fun read, but it's a guide to helping you become a person of impact and inspiration. If you are ready to take the next step to improving not only your life, but those around you as well, go get a copy of The Moats Theory of Life, and it's available at moatstheory.com. What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's up, dude?
Oh, baby. I feel like we were just here, what was it, about a month ago, after the whole George Floyd situation happened. We saw all the protesting.
Might have been two.
Might have been too much, right?
June?
Yeah, June time frame. Let's see, we had people protesting. That was the big conversation then. There were no sports taking place at the time, but, just NASCAR, they were big in terms of keeping the conversation moving and things like that. And we thought that, change was happening. We were saying, just overall, it was a lot more conversation being had about the racial injustice, the social injustice and things like that. Or racial inequality and things on that nature. But here we go. We find ourselves back here again. And shout out to the NBA, WNBA, MLB. Well, some of these teams in MLB, but they really helped bring this conversation back up. Just the other day, Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back, unarmed. Ultimately, probably be paralyzed from that situation in Kenosha. I think I said that right. Yeah, Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I mean, it's crazy because once again, we're talking about these same conversations in terms of officers, using lethal force when alternative methods are there, whether it's tasing, whether it's restraining him. It was multiple police officers there and things like that. But the Milwaukee Bucks, they took the first stand and ultimately boycotted the playoff game, which was huge. I mean, at the time, because no one knew they were going to do it. There were rumblings about, I think it was the Celtics and the Raptors were potentially talking about.
It seemed like they were talking about it first.
Yeah, they were talking about potentially not playing the game, but they really didn't give a lot of detail on it. But the thing I like about the Bucks, though, man, number one, they took the onus upon themselves. They didn't communicate with anyone else in the league. In fact, you see the videos of the Orlando Magic. They're on the court warming up, getting ready for that game. I didn't even see that. Yeah. So it just happened while we were on the radio. So we were actually watching it live, and you see the Magic out there warming up. They're going through shoot around, and the Bucks are nowhere to be found. Then it's supposed to be game time. The Bucks nowhere to be found. And then they let the people know that, hey, man, they're not going to be playing. They're boycotting the game. And they wanted to make it a boycott because you see the wording now from a national media standpoint is, oh, the NBA has postponed it. Oh, the NBA has postponed this series. And they wanted to make it clear that a postponement would be if the NBA was just acknowledging what was happening and saying, hey, we're not going to play games today. That wasn't the case. Those games were scheduled to be played. Everything was supposed to go on like nothing happened. Like we said,
it started with saying boycott, though. You're saying as the day went on yesterday?
It did not start with saying the players started it by saying it's a boycott. The NBA and the national media have changed the words to postponement.
No, that's what I mean. Whenever I think you first sent me the article, and whenever I first saw it, whenever it was initially happening, all I was seeing was boycott. Yes. But I think you're right. Like as the day went on, like later in the night, you were seeing like NBA postpone today's games.
Right, and postponement holds a different weight than boycott. Boycotting is when you're saying, hey, look, I'm fed up with this. I'm not about to stand here and think that this is acceptable. I don't want you to think it's acceptable. And the platform that they have, which is a playoff game, which is going to be a closeout game, they're leading the series 3-1. It's an important game to be a part of to end that series. They said, no, we are not going to play. We don't care about the ramifications. And shout out to the Orlando Magic, because then the next wave was, well, since the Bucks want to boycott the game, they should be forfeiting the game. The Orlando Magic said they don't want the forfeit. They said we're going to boycott too. They don't give us anything. We don't want that, which I thought was very respectable for them. And I thought that it showed the solidarity and supported the movement, because it was going to be easy to change the narrative to, well, now they look dumb because they just lost a game for no reason type situation. So I was very proud of them in that regard. And then with the WNBA, I just see me rocking their hoodie and things like that. Man, I thought it was awesome to see their teams, because they had 3 games slated yesterday as well, and to see them boycotted, because let's be real, the NBA, no matter how much people talk about they're not watching the NBA, no matter, I mean, even when I said like the product at the time, we said sometimes it feels real summer league-ish, we're still tuned in because the NBA, right? With the WNBA, it's the opposite. Their viewership doesn't reach the same level of NBA players. So for them, you're thinking about, man, they got the opportunity to be the only sport team playing at the time. That would be a lot of attention for them, but they decided that, hey, man, this is bigger than their game as well. So I was like, definitely want to applaud them for that. But ultimately, man, it's just crazy to think that this is still, a lot of myself saying this is crazy to think. It's not crazy to think. It's the reality. But hopefully when this thing keeps happening and people keep standing up, keep protesting, keep boycotting, keeping the conversation going, change can continue to happen. I mean, I was telling you a little bit off the mic that this is one of those things, man. We said this, like you said, 2 months ago, like it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to just change and everybody's going to be great and we're going to be singing Kumbaya. No, it's going to take time. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to leave here overnight. But the thing is, we have to continue to fight. We have to continue to stay motivated through it all and continue to keep pressing forward.
Yeah, I think probably the answer, I mean, really is, love and respect on, like I was thinking this coming over, just love and respect on any side with all of this in terms of you seeing the NBA players doing the boycott. It's like, all right, this is happening for a reason. Like, I don't think this was taken lightly. And, I'm big on like, all right, live and let live. Like, I'm big on like freedom of choice and everything. Like these guys had the power and the leverage to do this. And if they really felt like in their hearts, like, yo, this is going to impact society, this is going to help make the change required, then like more power to you. Like you can do whatever you want, especially if you have that power and leverage. And you could say with the Bucks, even yesterday, they got to talk to the governor of Wisconsin.
Yes, the attorney general.
Well. So like that doesn't happen if the boycott from yesterday is not taking place. So that's no matter what you want to say about it, like stuff happened yesterday.
Yes.
And I guess a different conversation is like whether or not the NBA should continue or not. But like I don't think that really needs to be a conversation right now. You know what I mean? Because we'll see what happens the rest of the week, and like we're gonna be off next week anyway. So we'll see what the whole the landscape of that is. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I don't know. I just think love and respect and just try to understand and listen. Like this is all the stuff we've been talking about because no one's gonna necessarily agree on everything. But I think if we treat each other and talk to each other and have dialogue in a respectful manner, and the baseline of all of it's like, yo, we want society to improve. We want everything to get better. Like, I think that's what things should be about. You know what I mean? And this, and like you said, like this happening yesterday is bringing up conversations of, and pause and reflection, whatever it is. So hopefully, I don't know, just hopefully it all keeps going that way. And it's all good with me.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be a unique situation as things progresses. And I'm glad what you said too about the conversation about whether or not the playoffs from an NBA standpoint should continue on. That's going to have its time. They're having meetings about that today. They're going to work that situation out, whichever they think is best. Because remember, prior to the season, the bubble season starting, Kyrie Irving was a part of a group, remember, that was talking about, hey, maybe we shouldn't go play because that's going to kind of water down what's going on and take away, which it did. We talked about how there were still protests going on, but because remember the whole rioting narrative that initially started, because there was no more of that, you weren't hearing people talk about the protesting anymore. You weren't hearing people talk about the forefront of the George Floyd killing and everything that was transpiring with that. You weren't hearing about any of that because sports was back resumed and everybody took it as life is normal. Even when Jacob Blake got shot 7 times, the video had been surfaced and there were still games being played for a couple of days after it happened. And it was not a headline. It was not talked about on that level, but it took these players boycotting. It took other leagues joining on board to show that, hey, as we see, this is no different than with the COVID situation, right? When sports says it's important, everybody around it reacts to it, right? Because beforehand, when we talk about the COVID situation, it was over in Wuhan, right? Nobody was really talking about it from an American standpoint. But when March Madness got canceled, when all the sports that were about to happen, where there was NBA that was going on, NHL and all that, when everything stopped from a sports standpoint, that's when all of us as a nation said, oh man, this is serious. Okay, we need to figure this thing out, right? Then we think about when sports came back. Then it was like, all right, everything's back good again. Sports stops because of this. Now it's like, okay, we got everybody's attention again. It's crazy how we always, and not all of us, but a lot of people from a fan standpoint will say, hey, we don't want politics in sports. We don't want to hear athletes' opinions on sports. But it seems as if they don't notice anything that's going on until the athlete speaks up and says something. And that's a part of the problem. I mean, you have to be aware of what's going on from a global standpoint, from even just a domestic standpoint right here in our own country. It's not acceptable. And the thing that really bothers me is we talk about how even back when Kaepernick took the knee, right? How they try to change the narrative. So now the new thing is, well, what about his criminal record, man? His criminal record, he's not some innocent guy. That's the whole purpose of due process. That's the whole purpose of a fair trial. That's in your Constitution, right? So I don't care what he did prior to that. I don't care what he did right then in the moment. At the end of the day, the job of the police officers are to protect and serve, not to be judge, jury, and executioner. So we have to understand that part of it first before we can even get to everything else. It's just, we see it so often when it comes to these scenarios. You go on your social media right now, I guarantee it doesn't take 2 seconds to find the person that wants to change the narrative, that wants to go from, oh, well, his criminal record to, well, what about black on black crime? What about this on this? What about that on that? All these other, in sports, we talk about moving the goalposts when we're having a debate, right? When it comes to this type of stuff, people are quick to move the goalposts because they don't want to face what's really in front of them. And it's very disheartening. It's very frustrating. But that's the biggest reason why me and a lot of other just media people aren't allowing that narrative to be changed. You're in this as well. That's why I like you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a good dude, baby. Because it'll be easy to come in here and say, well, you know, we can avoid this conversation or we'll just keep it short and light. But no, because we've done that for so long and you've seen that method has not worked. We've seen very prominent people talk about, well, man, protesting doesn't work. What's the point in protesting? Nothing's going to happen. Think about the civil rights movement. Protesting was the biggest part of why change happened. And let's be real, if protesting and boycotting and bringing it up and constantly talk about it and hitting it in your face until you can't stand it anymore, if people aren't doing that, no change is going to happen, because it's not like, oh yeah, y'all just going to wake up one day. And when I say y'all, I'm talking about the majority. I'm talking about the Caucasians, right? The non-minority population in America. It's not as if they're just going to wake up one day and say, you know what? Hey, equal rights for everybody. Don't worry about it, man. You get good, man. Hey, if you get killed, man, we got your back and all this other stuff, because that hasn't happened. It's been decades. It's been numerous generations that have transpired and had to live through this. And yeah, I'm just glad that this generation is saying we're fed up with it. That's the one beauty of 2020. I feel like, man, we always joke about 2020 being a bad year. We talk about the COVID situation, how it was just rough, Kobe passing away, man, all of these bad things. But the one thing I can say about 2020, man, from a political standpoint, as a nation, man, like, just people are standing up. People are not just allowing the same status quo to continue. And that's the thing that I love the most about this.
Yeah. And like I was saying with what I was saying and what I've said in the past too, and what I've said even off the mic, like, yo, I'm here to listen, here to understand, have the conversation, dialogue, and try to get where, you're coming from, and people are coming from with this, where I might have a blind spot just with how I was raised, and I don't understand, and I'm here, and we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that's weird is because of the status we're in terms of the COVID stuff, but like, even off the mic, I was like the first person to tell you, like, bro, like, how do we like do something? Right. Can we get into these communities, do certain things? Mm-hmm. But like I said with the COVID shit, like it's. And yeah, that's what I'm me, I'm more or less about the action, trying to go do some stuff. So, I think there's stuff heading in the right direction. And like you said, with 2020, maybe if some of this stuff hasn't happened, I don't know, do I have that conversation with you? Do I say with you, like, yo, let's do whatever. Let's go try to do something, Yeah.
And the thing that I applaud you for is the listening element of it, right? You're talking about how, hey, you don't understand every experience that I've experienced. A lot of people, though, that aren't minorities, they try to say, well, it can't be that bad, or I've done this before, oh, this happened to me, and it's different. I mean, some of my experiences, I've talked about how, hey, you've never had to hear the talk of, hey, if a police officer is approaching you in your car, these are the things you need to do. You don't have to worry about that. We've also talked about how, hey, you've never been pulled over for driving while being black or driving while being white. We hear that all the time. Oh, you fit the description, or I've been pulled over in the NFL. And they tell me, well, hey, man, you look too nice to have this car. What do you do? like, please explain this to me.
Yeah.
That to me is an issue. And that's just a small scenario. We've talked about other things that have happened, and that's just my story, not even talking about the countless other people who've had that, or the people who've been unfortunate who didn't have the luxury of being able to say, well, hey, I play in the NFL. That's what's going on. And then the demeanor changes from, well, why are you driving this car being African-American young guy on top of that, to, can I get a picture and an autograph? those were the things that I had as a luxury where other people didn't. But at the end of the day, that is not right. That's not right at all. I mean, if that would happen to you, you would look at the officer like, you're crazy. Like, what do you mean? I can't have this car. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the type of stuff, man. Or like you said, with the black on black crime, which to me is absolute nonsense, but people quick to bring that up. Man, black on black crime, white on white crime, black on white crime. The difference with all of those little narratives that people want to bring up, the difference with all of the goalpost movement that people want to bring up is this: when it's civilian on civilian crime, where there's black initiated, white initiated, whatever it may be, those people get held accountable. Those people get arrested. Those people go to trial. If the punishment fits, the death penalty is there in some cases. It's fair. That's the purpose of it, right? Due process, speedy trial. You get all of that. It's in the Constitution, see Miranda rights. And in fact, now that I think about it, but when it comes to police officers who we say are held to a higher standard because they do have the option of using lethal force at times. That's why they carry a gun. That's why it's legal for them to do some of the things they do. When they aren't acting in accordance with the law, they're not held to the same standard. We talked about how with the George Floyd situation, if it wasn't for the nationwide protesting and rioting and looting, those officers were not going to get arrested. We saw that firsthand because initially they said they weren't going to arrest them. So that's why everybody started to protest and go crazy. We talk about Breonna Taylor. That's a name that the WNBA has been huge on in terms of any women that have been wrongfully killed by police officers and not having a voice for them. We talked about how that whole situation happened, the details of it, and those officers are still out walking free, not a care in the world. That is a issue. That's an issue. She didn't have a criminal record. We can go down the list. You talk, criminal record, no criminal record. I don't have a criminal record. I've been pulled over numerous times by police. And I told you about this scenario. You're driving while black. Why do you have that car? You shouldn't have that. Who are you? What do you do? That's an issue. And it has to change, man. And it's not going to change if we don't talk about it. It's not going to change if we don't understand the importance of voter registration and understanding that, hey, you have to look at the different people who are in office, look at the different people who are in the positions of power, see what their policies are and get the right people in. But if you're not registered to vote, you can't do that. I'm just saying as an action item, right? That's one action item. We talked about in a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we talked about how we could get in the community and do certain things from a police and community relations standpoint, improving that conversation and that dynamic between the two of them. We talk about police training. That has to be another big issue. Those are all the things that have to be at the forefront, that have to be talked about and have to be addressed. I understand defunding the police. People use it as a hot topic, hot term, and there are a lot of variables that go into that, and it's a lot of details that go into that. That is another avenue, but ultimately for me, man, just finding out the way to just communicate with the police officers about the training element of it, right? You don't have to use lethal force all the time. And the thing that really blows my mind is when people hit you with well, not all police are bad, which I do agree, because like I said, I have family members that are great police officers. But it gets tiring when all the bad officers seem to be involved with African-American situations, right? But then when you see the scenarios where a 17-year-old Caucasian individual who just shot 2 people and killed them with the AR-15 gets taken into custody with no problem. You see countless videos of Caucasian Americans running up against police, resisting arrest, using deadly force, having a knife and attacking the police, still gets arrested, no problem. Why is it that when it's African American, if he moves the wrong way, if he just bulks back and says, no, I don't want to be arrested, that gives the officer the right to shoot, to kill him. But if it's a Caucasian individual with weapons that they have just used, which has been documented numerous times, oh no, that's acceptable. That's just a great cop. It can't be that wishy-washy. It can't be that night and day. It has to be consistency when we're talking about the police officers and how they handle individuals. And until it is, it's going to continue to be an issue, and it's going to continue to be something that we talk about. Yeah.
No, that's I was going to say, do you have anything else on it? But yeah, I think you laid it out there, man. Yeah, and like I said, I'm here to listen. I'm here to have the conversation, and yeah, even if we disagree on certain things, it goes back to what I was saying about just the respect factor and hearing things out and being like, yo, I'm not always right. I do have blind spots. I may not understand things, so I wanna hear these things, and the baseline of we're trying to get this shit better. I think that's what we can all come together for sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm glad I get to have these conversations with you, man.
Dude, I'm all right, man. I'm overrated.
And I think it's important too that we use the platform that we have, man. If we just come up here and we just strictly talk sports and act as if nothing is going on, it's tone deaf, bro.
There's two things. Yeah, it's going on in sports, and we've talked about other like COVID even. It's weird though. Going back to what you were saying about sports and all these other avenues of life, like sports is intertwined in a lot of it.
It is
business, politics, whatever, technology.
You think about some of the biggest political moments have happened around sports. You think about Ali saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna go to Vietnam to fight," forfeiting or turning over the heavyweight title at the time. That's a major political statement that happened with sports. You think about the Olympics where you saw the guys on the podium putting up the black fist in the air and things like that. Like, that's big. Those are iconic moments that happen in sports that are very much political. It's numerous examples of those situations and scenarios. So the whole narrative of keep politics out of sports, that's not realistic because they are very much intertwined. The athletes are very much in their communities. We talked about how even when I play, like, and even now, still heavily involved in the community. It's all intertwined, man. It's all intertwined. And regardless of if you want to call it a political thing or not, at the end of the day, the root of it all is just the value of human life. There's nothing political about me valuing your life, Deke. There's nothing political about you valuing my life. That's not a political issue. That's just basic fundamentals of just life in general. And until we can understand that as a whole, until we can all come together and get that, this is going to continue to happen. These conversations are going to continue to happen. And eventually something's going to happen where it comes to a head, man, for better or worse. So we got to continue to get this thing better, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about, on the one podcast we were doing a couple months ago, and then even throughout this one, it rolls.
Yes.
It's not Absolutely. It's not an overnight thing, but is yesterday or what the NBA is doing or just everything that has happened, is that some steps in the right direction? We're hoping so. So yeah,
absolutely, man, absolutely. So let's keep this thing rolling, baby. Let's keep it rolling.
Good talking, man. Good talking.
Yes, indeed.
For sure.
So, on a lighter note, man, what we did really come to talk about, man, but before everything started transpiring, we wanted to rank our top 10 quarterbacks. We're sitting here about 2 weeks away from the season starting. And obviously, we talked about how next week we'll be on vacation. We do have content for you and things like that. But we said, man, we can't shortchange this conversation because we know this is the one.
I didn't know we were gonna do this one. I thought you were gonna even hold it back another week.
No, man. I thought about it. I was doing the math, and I'm like, I don't want to have this conversation.
We would have done like O lines or D lines or something.
Well, no. Because I was gonna say interior D line.
Okay.
So what I've done with the radio show, we've done interior D line, we've done the tackles right and left, and then we did interior linemen. Because you think about guys like Quentin Nelson, David DeCastro, Marquise Pouncey. I mean, the list goes on from an interior standpoint. And then even from a tackle standpoint, guys like Tyron Smith. We talked about Al Villanueva. He's another guy who's still, he might not be top 10, but he's top 15 in terms of how you view him from a tackle standpoint. So yeah, it's definitely players there.
Well,
to it, bro.
I guess because when you get back, are we only going to be a week away from football?
Yeah.
Is that what it's going to be?
It wouldn't be a week. It'll be the week of, because the opener is on September 10th.
Okay, so yeah, I'm assuming then we might not get to those by then. So
that was the whole purpose.
It's good to have the quarterback one out there.
Yeah, that was the purpose.
That's what people want.
I said if we had to pass on O line, interior D line, I think it would be okay. I'm not saying that it is okay, but I think like that's a position to pass on compared, because the thing is, when we're talking about interior D line and offensive line, that's really for the nuanced fans, right? For the ones who are just die hard, they want to hear that, which we do have a good amount of those followers, but we know just the majority, the mass majority, they like the positions that are easily relatable, easier to evaluate too. We talked about how it's from an evaluation standpoint. Well, on paper or in theory, it's a lot easier to look at a receiver and say, okay, he had 10 touchdowns compared to this guy having 5 touchdowns. When you're comparing an O lineman, you don't have the luxury of just pulling up stats.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go look at, okay, how many sacks does he allow? And then you're looking at accolades and things along that, unless you really understand the position and you're watching it like that. So that's why I say, like, it's a lot easier to evaluate and rank the other positions versus some of that. So that's why, just from a general standpoint, we'll give them quarterbacks.
You want to talk about ease? I didn't even do any research on this. I'm being straight up.
And I'm sure you didn't, which I'm completely fine with, man.
Because I know everything. I know everything about the quarterbacks. I could just go off my list. It was all a feel thing. It was natural. It was popping in people in their spots.
I like it. Well, you know what? Without further ado, I figure you should go ahead and get no. I'll go first because I know yours is going to be a highlight reel.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, you're probably not going to be as surprised with my list because we did the recording for the top draft picks with the Steelers.
Still, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing too. And I was going to say, because we're in our podcast that we're going to record after this for the vacation week that we're taking, we're going to talk about top draft picks from the Steelers. Yeah. And the reason why I said it's different is because a guy like Ben, for example, right, was a first round draft pick. So him when you're ranking first round draft picks, you can have him a lot higher. But how are you going to have a guy like Ben rated as the number one draft pick when you got a guy that like Mike Webster, for example, late round pick, Hall of Famer, changed position, all these other things. You got a guy like AB in the 6th round. Like, so when you're see what I mean? So when you're talking about ranking just the overall draft pick itself and what they brought for the value of that draft slot, that changes a lot. So that's all I'm saying. So that's why, I'm sure you still going to be setting your ways with that, but now you can understand.
I don't think my list changed that much. I was I just plugged and play a few players in there. That was about it. It didn't change too much.
They said, man, we'll talk about it though. We got time. We'll talk about it.
But I think my last 3 lists are all going to be pretty consistent here.
So anywho, man, I'll go ahead and kick it off, man, with my quarterback list, and then we'll drum roll yours and get it popping, man.
Drum roll. It's not a big deal, dude. It's
no, you good, man.
It's just a list.
So I would just go ahead and go because I can't wait to hear yours. I'm excited. We've all been waiting for this. So at number 10 for me, I got Matthew Stafford. At number 9, I got Matt Ryan. At number 8, Deshaun Watson. At number 7, I got Big Ben. At number 6, I got Drew Brees. At number 5, Tom Brady. At number 4, Lamar Jackson. At number 3, Aaron Rodgers. At number 2, Russell Wilson. And at number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Let's go, Deke. Drum roll.
I gotta make a change because I forgot about Deshaun Watson here. To be honest with you, I forgot about him.
Well, maybe that. No. Maybe that's a good thing.
No, it's not because I would definitely have him in my top 10. I just forgot about him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I definitely did.
See, I figured if you don't remember him, then he's not unforgettable.
No. He's definitely in my top 10.
Unforgettable.
Do I take Cam out of my top 10 then? Is that what it is?
That's why, darling, it's incredible.
I would, I'd probably put him over this guy. All right, so I'm good on it. I don't want to take Cam off, man, but you know what? It's just going to have to happen.
It's incredible.
It's either Stafford or Cam for the 10 spot.
I think that
That's a tough one because Stafford went off until he got hurt last year. Cam was hurt last year, but I think Cam's going to go off this year.
Okay.
I think Stafford's got the potential.
I'm not going to lie. Side note, I get so hyped when I get to see Cam Newton, like when they're showing him in the Patriots stuff. Yeah, he's like dancing and stuff. I'm like, yo, he's back. It gets me so hyped, bro. So hyped.
All right. I do think Cam's going to have a good year with the Patriots, so I'm going to put him at 10. I'm putting him at 10.
Cam at 10.
That's a tough one. You had Stafford at 10, right?
Yes, correct.
We both, so 10, 11, we're both there. Wait, where do we... Oh, I know who you don't have in there.
All right, let's go. Here we go.
I know you don't have in there. All right. They're in the same range between like 8 and 9. But I'll get to my players now.
I was like, come on, man. You stalling. Dang.
Okay. Cam at 10.
Okay.
Carson Wentz at 9. Deshaun Watson at 8. Mm-hmm. Man, I can't believe you had this dude as high as you do. I didn't think you were as big of a fan, but wow. I got Aaron Rodgers at 7. And this... Any of my 7, this isn't a knock on any of them because I think the 7 is in the top tier.
Yeah,
I think the 7
it sounds good, but the fact you just said Aaron at 7, that already lets me know what your list is about to be on.
What do you mean?
Go ahead, continue though. Continue.
There's 6 other players that are awesome ahead of him.
Exactly. Continue.
All right, Breeze at 6. Lamar at 5.
Okay.
Brady at 4. Wilson has edged Brady here in my rankings. It took him a little bit. Brady's still top 5. He's still top 5. Okay. Wilson is at 3. Mm-hmm. I think I mentioned this on the one podcast. We were talking about Wilson. I told you I have him in my top 3. I told you he's in my top 3. What's so funny?
I'm just go ahead. You good.
I got Mahomes. Good year last year. Super Bowl champ at 2.
Super Bowl MVP last year.
And I got number 7 at 1. Big year ahead, and I want to be ahead of the curve and let people know. That's all. I'm trying to warn people that a big year's ahead.
Okay. Okay.
That Ben is going to take over the league, MVP. And you know what? I got a little more fuel to the fire too. Recently, there was a documentary that dropped. I didn't. No, I didn't watch it yet. What? I did not watch it yet. I didn't watch it yet.
I'm not gonna lie, it's tight.
That's all. That's what I've heard. It looks sick too. It's one of those things. I just wanna. I really gotta focus, lock in,
bro, it is tight.
Take 20 minutes and
yeah. Actually, you only need 14.
It's 14.
It's 14, yeah, but it's fire. God, because it's like a docu-series, so that was the first episode. I'm not sure how many episodes it is total, but that was the first one. Dude, you trust me, I was hyped watching it. I know you're gonna go crazy.
I know it's gonna be sick. Yeah. So what I'm saying with Ben, though, a little more fuel to the fire. The headlines I was seeing, had a bum elbow for almost all of his career here. Now he finally has surgery, so it's that's another reason he's gonna be even better than ever. All the reasons we've talked about throughout all of our podcasts up to this point. 2018 had a really awesome year. Had to take a step back this year, really analyze things, take a deep breath. Now he's more motivated than ever, more healthy than ever, and I just don't really expect a step back from him. If anything, like I said, I expect taking over the league and dominating. So that's why Ben is number one on my 2020 quarterbacks list.
So you expect Pat Mahomes and Russell Wilson to take a big step back?
No, not at all.
You sure?
I think Ben's going to be that good. But you don't win Super Bowls every year. It's not like that simple. Those two dudes they're 2 and 3 on my list. They're going to be awesome. So, like I said,
I was trying to figure out why Ben was ahead of him. That's why I said, are they going to take a step back? Because I thought they had made a clear gap between them and Ben.
I'm telling you right now, Ben's going to have a really big year. So that's why we're really close to the year coming up. In 2020, so I'm just trying to tell everyone what's about to happen.
So that's why I'm asking. If Ben is going to have a really good year, you have to be implying that Mahomes is going to take a very, very...
No, not a very, very step back. No.
What are you talking...
He's going to have a great year.
Think about his first year as a full starter. He passed, 5,000 yards?
He's not taking either of those two dudes.
He had tied the QB record with Peyton for touchdown passes. Went to the AFC Championship game. Then the next year...
He's great, dude.
Then the next year, he wins Super Bowl, gets Super Bowl MVP. So I'm just like, when is he coming back down to earth?
Nah, what do you mean?
So Ben's gonna throw for like 5,500 passing yards, 60 touchdowns.
He's gonna have a big year. Like I said, I'm putting out a warning. I'm putting out a public service announcement here that it's gonna be a big year for Ben.
Oh, okay.
That's all. Like I said, the top 7.
Somebody got to be taking a step back. That's all I'm saying, man.
Not really.
Somebody got to take a step
back.
Top
7 are really good quarterbacks. I like all those.
Nah, it's levels though. It's levels. We can all agree it's levels to this thing. Especially whether you're talking, what did you hit me with the other day? You said we're talking recent, we're talking career span, and we're talking projections. So you're telling me you're projecting that Ben is going to have a better season than Patrick Mahomes, than Russell Wilson, than Aaron Rodgers.
You know what? I am. If I got him at my number 1, and I'm going with that. Yeah, for sure.
So this is more projection than not longevity, not short term, not
like I
in
said,
the right now.
2018, he had an awesome year. He was like number 3 or 4 in QBR, led the league in passing yards, over 30 passing touchdowns. So yeah, I think he's always. I had him at 1 last year. Obviously, I'm gonna have one every year. I'm just being straight up with you, but like. Yeah, like he had. Where'd you have you had him in your top 3, right? Whenever we did these lists last year, coming off of 18,
I think so. Yeah. Because in 18 he balled out, but at 18 he still wasn't better than Mahomes. The numbers speak for itself. The MVP speaks for itself. The team success speaks for itself. So which one are we going off of here? Are we going off of passing just regular QB stats?
I think.
What are we going off of, man? Are we going off of team stats?
I think I was doing both projections there, and Mahomes was young still. It's like Carson Wentz had that really good year. We see how many quarterbacks have a really good year. It's like. Can we sustain
so then in 2019, he did the same thing.
I'm a Mahomes fan, dude. You're speaking to the choir here. I got nothing against him.
So I'm just trying to figure out what do we, because he's a lot younger too, right? You talk about how when we do some of the other rankings, you're like, well, this guy's younger, this guy's older, so I like the younger guy. I'm just trying to figure out
Ben's throwing what's going
back
on
the
here. Clock, dude.
He's throwing back the clock.
5 years.
Back the clock. Okay.
5 years.
So
the arm's healthy.
So he's 38.
The arm's healthy, leaner than ever.
Talking about he's 38,
talking about
right?
Super Bowl. So like
he's 38, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Take away 5 years. How old is he?
That's 33.
How old is Mahomes?
Dude, Mahomes is good. Dude.
What are we talking about here, bro?
Mahomes is good, man. I'm just telling you, Ben's gonna have a great year.
Okay, all right. That's either here nor there. So you had Aaron Rodgers pretty low.
What you have, Ben? Right? You had him 5.
No, I had him at 7. I have him behind Breeze and Brady.
So you have him at the bottom of that. Would you agree it's like 7?
7,
like
7.
Those top 7.
The top 7 could legit be top 5 any year. It's just when I look at all the other quarterbacks up there, Ben is the one that's coming off of injury. He's the one that missed the time. Everybody else had really good seasons. People think about this, right? We talked about when you break it down with Tom Brady, people would say, well, he was washed last year. His numbers were still good. He still made stuff without nothing.
Dude, I was trying to tell people, man.
No, I agree with that. So that was the thing with Brady. I'm like, his numbers were still there. Aaron Rodgers, people talk about Aaron Rodgers like he had a terrible year. This man threw for, was it 26 touchdowns and 4 picks? Like, dude, you talk about efficient. He was crazy efficient and still was right at that 4,000 barrier for passing yards. Took his team to what, the NFC Championship game. So when you look at
clutch moment in the Seahawks game, little fade ball to Adams.
Right. So my thing is this. I'm like, when I look at Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, yeah, he has to be up there because he was super efficient. And you know me, I love efficient quarterback play. I'm not a big fan of the gaudy turnovers, because if that's the case, Jameis Winston would be high on this list because he did similar to what Ben did the one year when Ben led the league in He led the league in passing yards, but he led the league in passing attempts, and he led the league in interceptions as well, right? With Jameis threw for 5,000. Jameis threw for 33 touchdowns, but Jameis still had 30 picks. That's way
double,
too many turnovers.
That's double the picks. The thing with the Ben picks, though, I think there's some type of stat out there that
listen. We can make excuses for it. There's still interceptions, man.
Leading the league in picks that year was like the least amount of picks over the past however many years. Like that was like the lowest number to lead the league in picks in however many years. He just got caught at a bad time.
Still threw too many picks for me. When I look at some of these other guys who are having single-digit interception seasons, that's what I want from my elite quarterbacks.
Well, I'm predicting that, though, too.
Well, I hope so, too, because when's the last time he had that? That's the real question. It's been a while.
He's had some years.
Yeah, so for me, man, I'm when he can get it down to single-digit and still have those 25-plus touchdown passes, without a doubt, yes. But until then, that's going to be the biggest knock. We could talk about passing yards because, hey, man, any of these dudes collided. If you're over the 4,000 passing yard mark, 4,000, 4,500, that's the elite club. We know that. That's what you're supposed to average year in and yard if you're a top tier quarterback. Then from there, it's okay, what is your completion percentage? All right, what is your touchdown to interception ratio?
I throw QBR in there, maybe.
Yeah, you could throw the QBR in there. Absolutely, yeah. But those are the big things when we're talking about quarterback play that really hold the most weight. And then obviously we could talk about the clutch moments in terms of the last minute or 2 minutes of a half, last 2 minutes of a game. You know what I mean? Is he trailing? Can he come back and things on that nature? But even with that stat, I've sent you stuff before, man, where it's like, well, we talk about Aaron Rodgers, but Ryan Tannehill has fourth quarter comebacks that are, and that's why it's like we always got to be careful with just isolating one particular
Rodgers
thing.
Throughout some of his career with the Packers, they had a stretch of like 3 or 4 years where I think they went 15-1 one year. They were constantly winning at a really good clip, and I guess they just didn't need fourth quarter comebacks.
Whereas you look at a guy like Russell Wilson, who typically excels in those moments, but they're trailing or in one-score games a lot more. Right, so that's why it's always like you still just got to be a little careful when we're talking about those type of moments.
Even though it wasn't some type of crazy comeback last year, it was the Seahawks-Steelers game.
Absolutely.
We
watched it happen before our eyes,
but
man.
That's like really low key. Like, it's just so common that all right, they're down and he's gonna find a way to just at least get them back.
We sat there and watched them have a 3rd and 15, and we're just like, "Are you for real right here?" And then he ends up winning the game, and that's the type of stuff where game in and game out he does that. You're just like, that wasn't flashy. It's not a headline, but it counts.
The funniest one though was the. Him and Rodgers in the one, was it the NFC Championship, I think, in 15 or 16, where the guy missed the onside kick.
Oh, yeah. He missed it twice. Didn't he miss it twice?
I can't remember.
I thought he missed it twice. That's what ended up cutting him after that joint too, man.
It might have been twice. I don't know if it was once or not, but what's funny is like that is all credited to Russell on the comeback and all this. But if the dude just catches the ball, Rodgers is in the Super Bowl.
A team sport, man. But
still, that is definitely something to be said, to be able to at least get your team in that position where maybe a mistake can be made on the other side to where you can advance to the Super Bowl.
Think about the game. If this would have been the second time. No, this would have been the first time Seahawks-Niners played last year. It was like Monday night game. Remember how like crazy it was? Yeah. And like you just seeing Russell just find ways to bring it on back. He's just like,
49ers was, I think at the time. Yeah, they were talked about being the best team in the league. And Seahawks were, I forget what their winning percentage was, but they
were good, but they weren't viewed like that.
They were like 5-2 at the time or something like that. But yeah, dude, I got him 3. Where do you have him?
I'm at 2.
You have him at 2?
Okay. I feel like our top, honestly, you take away Ben, our top 6 is pretty much identical one spot away. I had Breeze at 6. Where did you have Breeze at? I think you
six.
Had,
you
had
six.
And then I had Brady at 5. We
just have him and Lamar flipped.
Yeah, I had Brady at 5, Lamar at 4. Because I said Lamar coming off the MVP season. Lamar,
understood.
I mean, the touchdowns, the yardage, the efficiency, everything he did was on par with that. Whereas we can't agree that Brady, even though it's not, he didn't have a terrible year, he did take a step back from what we are accustomed to seeing with Brady. So that was the reason why I had him at 5. But like I said with Aaron,
but I guess the argument for me is like, all right, I think Brady's gonna have a really good year down in Tampa, and I'm not saying Lamar's not. I'm just a believer in Brady.
No, I agree 100%. Man.
So with Lamar, it's like, can he just keep this up?
Right.
If he keeps it up, then move him up a couple spots.
Yeah. And then obviously with Russell Wilson and Mahomes, I just felt like Russell is just a fantastic football player. I mean, we were just talking about him right there, just from. He keeps that team going. If he's not out there, that team doesn't have a chance. They're not like Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh lost Big Ben last year, and they still were sitting above 2 games above 500 with 3 games left, because from a team standpoint, they just have really quality players out there. The quarterback position ultimately was their Achilles heel those last 3 games, but they still did. They shocked a lot of people, including us. Whereas a team like Seattle, if Russell is not out there, they're not built like that, where they can just still find ways to win, still find ways to be in these games. Russell is the biggest reason why they have any chance in any game. So that's why I had to have him at 2. And then with Mahomes right now is in a class by himself. We look at what he's done his 2 years of being the full-time starter, and we've not seen anything like this. You talked about
Mahomes
Ben.
Is awesome, man.
Yeah, and the thing is this, right? You talked about Ben that first year he came into the league and how he ultimately helped lead this team and things on that nature, right? It still was not anywhere close to the level of what Mahomes was doing his first year. We know with Ben, even that first year, we talked about how it was debates of, okay, is he a game manager, like kind of like the Russell Wilson narrative, or can he be the leader? Because at the time, the defense was the key at the time. You know what I mean? We said, hey, man, Steelers defense is what sets the tone. When Mahomes came in the league, man, and he took over, it wasn't can the Chiefs defense carry Mahomes? It was, Mahomes is lighting the league on fire. He's carrying that defense, which was trash at the time. And he went head to head with Brady in the AFC Championship game. And if it wasn't for Julian Edelman, did he touch it? Did he not touch it on the punt? And then the lineup in the neutral zone, with what was that, D Ford? Was it D Ford? Yes.
I forget who it was.
Yeah,
but
it was D Ford.
Brady threw it to Gronk, clanged off Gronk's hands, and the dude picked it. Yeah.
And D Ford was lined up in the neutral zone. And then, like I said, the other one was the punt where Julian Edelman was like about to touch it, and the replay you can't tell.
I didn't think he touched it.
I didn't think he touched it either, but it was still just kind of tough to tell. But I think whatever call you make in the moment, you just kind of got to ride with it in those type of scenarios. But that's what Mahomes did his first year. Then his second year, he comes back and sets the league on fire.
Mahomes. I like Mahomes, man.
And then you talk about an it factor, right? The clutch moments in the Super Bowl. We said it came down between Jimmy Garoppolo missing the throw and him making that crazy throw to Tyreek Hill. And that was the difference in that game, man. He was trailing. He trailed in every game of the playoffs by double-digit points.
Whole moments were clutch.
Yeah, and still found ways to win.
And even in the loss versus the Patriots the year prior.
Oh, he still balled out.
No, he did. Well, he was having a bad first half. He balled out in the second half. And from what I remember is the Patriots have the go-ahead score. Was there less than a minute left? I can't remember. But I'm thinking, all right, the Patriots somehow do it again. Brady pulls out the final drive. But Mahomes comes back and he leads them down for a field goal to take it to overtime. So I was impressed with that. Even aside from him winning the Super Bowl this year and the crazy run, like even that showed me something to where, all right, he dueled with Brady and did
absolutely,
awesome.
Man. So
I'm big on Mahomes, dude. I'm with you.
That's my thing. That's the why I have him at number 1. And I think his clear cut, because like Russell is close. Russell's at 2, but it's a clear cut gap with Mahomes and everybody else, because what he's been able to do is a reason why he got the contract that he's gotten. It's a reason why his team has been as successful as they have. And the thing too is this: we can talk about, well, look at the weapons he has. Remember, Alex Smith had those same weapons. Alex Smith had a Tyreek Hill, as Mahomes. Alex Smith had those same weapons, and that's why I always say, like, we can use the weapons, in terms of when you want to critique and evaluate and compare this guy to that guy. But then when I see it where, okay, this is the perfect scenario where we've seen those weapons with the Alex Smith and we've seen those open with Patrick Mahomes, night and day. So that's the biggest reason too why when people try to knock Ben and they're like, well, Ben had this guy, that guy, and that guy. It's like, whoa, man. It's not necessarily that if you have these guys, you're going to light it up the way that they did, because it's been times we talked about when Landry came in, it still didn't move the same way from an offense standpoint. You talked about when Vic came in, it looked different.
Yeah, man. How many receivers have we gone through in Pittsburgh where Ben's always a consistent factor? We're always in contention for Super Bowls year in and year out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think Mahomes is that good too. Like no matter, I think we've had this conversation before. Like no matter who he's got down there,
he's gonna be fine.
He's gonna make it happen, man. And dude, I think I get why you got your list as you do. I would be a jackass or an idiot to try to say, oh wow, you're completely out there, because I get it. But I'm big on Ben this year, and I think he's gonna have a great year.
I see. Now you had 8 through 10. You had Cam Newton.
No, I had
you had Cam Newton, Wentz, and Deshaun Watson at 8, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't have Matt Ryan up here.
No, I'd have him at
okay.
I'd have him at like 11, 12. Like your next tier is like Matt Ryan, Stafford. I'd put Stafford over Matt Ryan. I'd put Stafford at 11 for sure. Stafford, Matt Ryan.
Okay.
And then what do I have here?
Because you got like Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy G, all those guys.
Then it's Dak, because Stafford at 11, Ryan at 12. What I say? I said Dak is like that 13, 14 range for me, so that would make sense.
Even though he's coming off of 4,900 passing yards.
Although I was saying I do think Kyler's going to have a better year than Dak, but Dak definitely has the better body of work, so maybe I'd give him the nod here on this day. But I think in the past I said I'd give it to Kyler, but whatever. Yeah. Between 13 and 14, that's kind of where I have it. Then the next tier is probably you got like Tannehill, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you'd throw Darnold on that.
I would throw like Jared Goff in there. He's been to a Super Bowl.
Dude, from that point, it's just like I think that's
tier.
That's
like
of like
15 through like 20 range.
Maybe even 25, 23. Like there's a lot of guys in there. Garoppolo, I guess you could toss in there too. Kirk Cousins.
Because see, for me, the way I looked at it like this, right? I have the reason I had Matt Ryan above Stafford, because number one, Matt Ryan still had a really good season last year. He's super consistent. He's never going to be great. He's just going to be really good every year. But he played the whole time, where Stafford's coming off injury, similar to the situation to Ben. So out of respect, that's why I still have him in my top 10, because I know when healthy, he's right in that same tier with the Matt Ryan.
Yep.
Then my next group of guys, I had Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, and Jimmy G. I feel like they're all kind of lumped in there together, depending on
Rivers. What about Rivers? We forgot about him.
No, I didn't forget about Rivers. I personally, for me, thought that last year in particular was different than Ben and Stafford, because at least with Ben and Stafford, you have the unknown of, okay, was it just injury? Were they going to fall off a cliff? What was going to happen? You don't know. Benefit of the doubt says, look at the body of work. With Phillip Rivers, he was the opposite. Instead of getting injured, he played the whole time. So it's kind of like with Eli Manning, where it's like you get a chance to see it week in and week out, and you're just like, no matter how much you want to think back on the good times, you're constantly reminding of what's going on week to week. So that's my issue with him. So that's why I didn't have him in that next tier. Now
you got him in the Tannehill range.
Yeah. So literally that next wave of guys, I had like Tannehill, Josh Allen, Phillip Rivers, Jared Goff, and then I didn't have Baker there because I felt like Baker is still too wishy-washy.
You got all these tiers. Did you list them all?
No, I didn't. I just know in my head like I have. I don't have to like write them all out. Like
I was gonna say, I thought you did the extra work.
Nah. But for me, man, I'm always thinking about it, because just when we have these conversations of like how I evaluate a guy, what do I think of this player versus that player? So that's the biggest thing with that. And yeah. Because, I thought about putting Dak in the top 10. I was like, personally, I think that his body of work speaks very highly from an individual standpoint and a team success standpoint. I like him a lot more being a 4th round pick versus some of the guys who are first rounders. I always feel like it's a lot easier when you're a first rounder, just because the amount of opportunities you're going to get, the commitment from the organization. You think about and the reason why we always talk Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott, because just draft class and everything like that, right? But with Carson Wentz, once he was drafted there as a first round pick, we knew, okay, Philly was going to adapt to him. They were going to bring in pieces for him, specifically for him, to make sure this offense is tailored to make Carson Wentz be his best self. When Dak Prescott was drafted in Dallas, that was not the expectation at all.
That team was stacked, though.
No, they were, but this is what I'm saying. The team wasn't built for Dak. They weren't bringing pieces in specific to Dak's skill set. We talk about with Lamar Jackson, right? When Lamar took over, that next year, what did they do? They didn't just say, oh, well, this team is stacked with talent. No, they got pieces specific for Lamar's traits. They said, we're going to get tight ends and running backs. We don't need these receivers that's running all these routes, because that's not Lamar's game. We want these type of players. It's custom just for him. That didn't happen for Dak. Dak has made the best of the scenario, but that offense was not built for Dak. That offense was built for Romo. We talk about even with Russell Wilson. Now they're trying to adapt to him and bring those pieces in. But remember, before it was Russell Wilson, it was set up for Flynn. for Matt Flynn, who came over from Green Bay. Remember, he had the 2 games where he came in garbage time, or not garbage time, but the game that doesn't matter end of the year, and he lit it up. Yeah, and then from there, the Seahawks brought him over, paid him nicely.
I remember.
So when I think of that, because at the time I think it was Flynn. I think they had Tavares Jackson on the roster at the time. R.I.P. to him. And then they drafted Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson took over. The offense was not accustomed to him. So that's why for me, anytime I see these mid-round guys, late-round guys, Kirk Cousins, for example, another guy, the offense was built for who? RG3. What did Kirk Cousins do? He came in, made the best of the situation, and made himself into a nice career, made a ton of money. At the time, people were looking at like they were crazy when Washington had drafted him. Like, why you draft him when you got RG3 in the first round? What you doing?
Yeah, I definitely remember that. But they didn't have a competent backup. And it worked out for them because RG3 was getting hurt. You know?
Yeah, well, think of RG, not his first year. First year, RG3, rookie of the year, he looked great.
But that's what I mean, to at least have a backup like that who's been in the system. And he did pretty good at Michigan State from what I remember. And then, he came on and you're right, made a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money. He's put up stats. Now, whether I like him in...
He's won big games in the playoffs too, man.
Man, I mean, what? Did he win one when he was down in Washington?
I can't remember. Look. I just think about the recency standpoint, going on the road, beating the Saints in overtime, walk-off fashion. That's a big moment. That's clutch. That's it. Fact. That's all the other things you want to throw out there and stuff like that.
I'll give him 15 or 16. Yeah. The one thing, actually, I wanted to...
That's what I'm saying too. I'm not putting him in... I ain't say he's a top 10 guy.
The one thing I wanted to bring up though with the whole you said this about 5 minutes ago, but I don't know, it popped into my mind with the Ben and Mahomes thing, like rookie years. I would actually be interested if Ben came in as a rookie this year, if he would, just because it's more of a passing league, like the baseline for rookies in terms of attempts and all that type of stuff. I think Ben's talent was always there. I think it might be. I'm not saying it had to be. It has to be Mahomes' first year. Or
Mahomes' first year was record breaking.
Yeah, but
it's a reason why even Ben at his best, he's never done what Mahomes has done. On paper, he has never done what Mahomes has done. On paper,
fair.
From a team standpoint, we can make the case in terms of him leading his team, getting Super Bowl MVP. Ben has not done that in his career either.
I'm not knocking. Yeah. I'm not really trying to make a Ben versus Mahomes thing. I'm saying it would be interesting because even Brady, when he came in,
I agree with that.
As a rookie, like. They had him really limited in terms of his attempts.
But Brady also had to
I think that was more or less a lot of the rookies at that time, though.
I looked at it like this. Brady being a 6th-round draft pick at the time, coming in behind Drew Bledsoe, you were not expecting Brady to do anything. It was similar situation what we talked about with Mason and Doug. Don't kill us. That was the
even Peyton Manning, him being taken first overall.
Remember, Peyton Manning led the league in picks.
That's my point. I think that point the league was different with young quarterbacks.
They let Manning throw.
That's what I mean, though. The league was different in terms of it's a lot more spaced out now, where it's more favorable for a passer, for Baker to come in and have an awesome rookie year like that. But if we're talking Baker versus Ben, talent rookie year, I mean,
no. But this is my thing, man. You can say, well, it's because now things are a lot more open. It's more favorable to passing. But at the same time, there are a lot more information on these quarterbacks, a lot more statistics, a lot more ways to minimize what they do really well now compared to back when Ben came in the league. When Ben came in the league, there wasn't next gen stats. We talked about that. From a film standpoint,
there's coach's mentality though.
No. I'm just saying there are other variables.
Do this to win. We do this to win.
All I'm saying is there are multiple variables that go into that, and to just say it would be interesting to see if Ben came in now, would he be on that level? I still don't see it because Ben now, who we talked about is a great quarterback, right? Future Hall of Famer and all these things. He's still, to this day, even when he had the killer bees, and you can go on the list of players that he's played with, he has never done what Mahomes has done. That's all I'm saying with that. So I don't think it matters when he came in the league. He wasn't going to do what Mahomes can do. Whereas Mahomes, I don't care if Mahomes came in the league 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I think Mahomes is just who Mahomes is. He was going to ball up regardless.
Yeah, Mahomes is great, but I'm not trying to make it a Ben versus Mahomes thing. That's why I brought up like Baker.
I mean, technically you did when you put him at 1 and put Mahomes at 2.
I'm telling you, Ben's gonna have an amazing year this year.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for him to have an amazing year to be 1, that means that Mahomes has to take a step back because Mahomes has been by himself.
No step back.
Who's been in the conversation with Mahomes these past 2 years?
If a step back means not winning the Super Bowl, then yeah, that's fine.
Or not winning the MVP, whether it's regular season or Super Bowl, because that's the standard right now for him. His standard is regular season. If he plays 16 games, regular season MVP.
I don't consider that a step back though.
I think it would be.
I just don't think that's happening every year in and year out. I think he's gonna have a great year.
You don't think it's happening year in and year out. What has he shown you the first 2 years?
It's 2 years. Let's see. Let's keep it going. That's all.
Has he not?
And I'm like one of the biggest Mahomes fans right now. I think he's awesome. Like we've talked about this. Like he's definitely on like my quarterback.
So you're a Mahomes fan, but you don't believe in his talent over Ben's talent, is what you're telling me.
I think Ben's going off this year.
Yeah, so for Ben to go off to catch up to Mahomes and surpass Mahomes, Mahomes has to say the exact same or get worse.
He can stay the same. He can stay the same.
So maybe the same, he's not getting better.
Maybe they both can improve. Maybe it's everyone getting better next year.
Yeah, you living in a fantasy tenant. Why not? It was a fairy tale world, man.
My point is though, like, all right, a rookie comes in this year like Burrow, or Tua, or even like I said, we've seen Baker, we've seen other rookies more in the modern day.
We saw Daniel Jones, we saw Sam Darnold, we saw Dwayne Haskins. We can go down the list of rookies. Kyle Allen, Gardner Minshew. Don't give me Jones because the way this league is set up that it's more favorable to rookie passes, because it's not. We talked about how some of these young quarterbacks get chewed up and absolutely spit out because they just aren't ready at the time. That's the bigger issue. It's not was been allowed to throw, was been allowed to do this. They felt at the time, and I've had conversations with people who were on the team then that have been through the ball more than 20 times a game, they were going to lose. That's what they felt. They didn't feel he was on that level yet. That's directly from the horse's mouth. That's what they told me.
But dude, that's my point. That's 15, almost 20 years ago.
What are we if he was good like that 15, 20 years ago, if Ben was as good as he is today, his first year, do you really think Coach Kyle would have been over here talking about, no, I don't want to throw the ball like that? No, he would have been like, man, if you throw the ball like that, throw the ball like that. The problem was he wasn't like that.
I don't have it on hand. I would just love to see what all the other rookie quarterbacks are doing coming in. I mean, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are good examples, I think.
No, I think they're not good examples of that, because you look at Manning, who, like I said, first round draft pick, who got the keys to the car. They said, do what you want to do. And he led the league in picks because he was not ready. We talked about Brady coming as a 6th round pick, taking over for Breeze for Bledsoe after Bledsoe got hurt. He still was not ready. It's a difference. Mahomes showed. Remember, Mahomes said his first year in the league.
Breeze was bad first couple years too.
Yeah, because it is hard to pass in this league, regardless of if you're talking about then or now. At the NFL level, you have to. It takes a little bit of time to adapt. Think about this, and with Mahomes,
you could just. But
Mahomes
you
got the benefit of the doubt too, because
you could say the state of the game, like all this colleges.
I don't agree with that, bro.
Camps and all this other type of stuff. That's what makes the quarterback. Like it's anything with the NBA.
That, bro.
The players now,
I don't agree with it, man.
As a total, are better than the players back in the 80s and 90s. That's a different
conversation. This is not 80s and 90s when Ben came in. That's a different conversation trying to say 80s and 90s. That's like if we're comparing Patrick Mahomes to Terry Bradshaw. That's not the case. We're talking about Ben, who's in this same generation.
Wait, so we can't say early 2000s to now?
When did Ben come in the league? Early 2000s, right?
Yeah. I'm saying even with the NBA, but
we're not talking about that. We're talking about football. And we're talking about quarterbacks. You're trying to make an excuse for Ben and saying that, hey, it would have been different if he would have came in the league now. No, he would have had more opportunities.
I just said it would be interesting. I think it's interesting to think about it, because any of those quarterbacks, like I said, you have top four quarterbacks there who all had rough starts. Not Ben, but it wasn't like he was attempting that many passes and putting up gaudy numbers. But 4 quarterbacks that aren't putting up stats like a lot of these rookies are coming in like right away, and these are all-time greats.
But this is my thing, though. I'm sure for every of those 4 all-time greats that we talked about that had quote-unquote rough beginnings, we can point to other rookies that probably had really good beginnings. That's what I'm saying.
I would be interested to look back at that. I
don't think it's as simple as you're trying to make it it's just a generational thing, because I don't think that's the case. I think it's just tough to play in the NFL at the quarterback position. It's a reason why even in today's NFL, if it's so easy to put up gaudy numbers, why didn't Mason Rudolph do it? Why didn't Duck Hodges do it? They had every opportunity. It's set up to pass, right? Isn't that what you're saying?
There's an influx of quarterbacks right now, though.
No. But this is my thing, right? It's set up for them, right? This is the best spot. So why wasn't Mason Rudolph then? He was a 3rd round draft pick, right? Why wasn't Duck Hodges like that?
But that's my point. I just think quarterbacks
why did Kyle Allen take a step back then? Why did Kyle Allen have a 5-game span where he looked great and then from there look bad? Why did Gardner Minshew do the same thing?
Mason might have been starting.
Mitchell Trubisky is another guy who was a top 10 pick.
Those dudes might have been starting back like 15 years ago. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Mitch Trubisky starts today. He starts right now, and he still isn't on that level, man.
Yeah, but he might have been like their starter for how many years back? 15, 20 years ago. I don't agree with you, man. He might have been, dude. I don't agree with you, I just think the influx of quarterbacks and how great quarterbacks are, if you're not able to do it in 2-3 years, they're ready to move on from you, as opposed to back then. You could be, as long as you're average, they keep you for a little bit.
I don't know. I think we could agree to disagree with that.
No, for sure. That's all. I'm just saying it'd be an interesting thought. That's all. Like if you brought in Brady or some of these other dudes right now, like what could Brady come in right away in this day and age and be thrown for 20 to 30 touchdowns and having good stats and stuff like that. I don't know.
What we do know is we've seen their rookie years and we know what it looked like. So, hey, agree to disagree, baby.
For sure. I enjoyed having the conversation. Is there anything else with these quarterbacks? We were talking about tiers and stuff.
Because I feel like we were all the same. Obviously, Ben is the biggest outlier.
I have Wentz in my top 10.
Yeah.
I have him at 9, and you have Stafford. That's kind of the only difference, really.
And I had Matt Ryan up there. You didn't have Matt Ryan.
You didn't have Matt Ryan?
No, I said I did have Matt Ryan. You didn't have Matt 10? Ryan. Yeah, I had Matt Ryan.
Oh, I have Cam. It's Cam and Wentz. I have Cam and Wentz. Right. You have Ryan.
See, for me, Cam, I need to see it healthy. I need to see. And the difference between why I give Ben and Stafford the benefit of the doubt more so than Cam is because even though this was Cam's first season where he only played, 2 games, then missed the rest of the year prior to that where he played, I think, was 14 games. We know he was beat up a lot during that season. He still looked like he had taken a step back, whether it was him being hurt or whatever the case was. He didn't look the same. It was more of the Phillip Rivers type of conversation with him, which is why I had him out of that top 10 area, just because I can't give him the full benefit of the doubt of a Big Ben or Stafford, who, when they were healthy the year prior, they were lighting it up. So that's the biggest reason why I didn't have Cam up there. But if Cam goes out there and looks like how we know he can look, he's right back in that conversation. He's right back in the top 10.
Yeah, I think he'll do good. We got anything else with these QBs?
I think that was it, man. But, I like talking this quarterback talk, man. I can't wait till we get to post these, man. I thoroughly enjoy. I just enjoy these conversations. I love when we get to rank players going into the season, because that's like, for me, in my mind, now that we're doing this the second year, that's kind of like my checkpoint of, okay, season is about to start. We've got our rankings out. And then it's cool to see from our list how these players do. I mean, we talked about how different players we had ranked last year. I
had a couple cool takes last year for sure.
But it's cool, though, to see, like, all right, how we have the different players ranked and how they actually pan out. I mean, a guy like Mahomes, I don't think either one of us had Mahomes as the number 1 quarterback last year. But then
I think we had you had Brady. I had Ben, but I had like Brady at 2. I think I might have had Mahomes at 3 or 4.
Yeah, he was top 5, but it's things like that. And then to see like how they progress through the season. I don't think either one of us had Lamar in our top 10. Then you see what he was able to do this past season. So I think that's the fun part about it. And then obviously when we do our official season projection too, from a wins-loss standpoint, that's going to be cool too, to just see like, all right, this is what we said. How does everything stack up and things on that nature? So that's the beauty of it. And it lets you know, I mean, we're literally 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks away from kickoff. Obviously the Steelers will kick off on that Monday, the 14th. But yeah, we're going to have an opening game on September 10th. And then you got games that weekend. So yeah, we're almost here, man.
You know who the opener is?
It's the Super Bowl. Oh my goodness, it should be Chiefs versus, I don't know who they're playing, but Chiefs should be opening.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do the multiple opening games. Like usually it's like 3 games on that opening night or 2 games on the opening night or whatever. No.
They do 2 on Monday.
Yeah. It's usually one Thursday.
Like we might
night.
be the opener on Monday, and then it might be like a Raiders Broncos game or something like that on the West.
Yeah. But the Chiefs be opening up on that Thursday because the Super Bowl team, whoever wins Super Bowl, they always have the opening banner ceremony on Thursday.
Yeah, I wonder who they're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll look it up after.
Figure it out, man.
Yeah.
But it's exciting though, man. So this was a fun podcast, productive podcast.
I got a question for you.
All right, let's talk.
I'm trying to think. What was the one we did recently? I had TJ Watt at 1. For our list.
Edge rusher, and I had Chandler Jones,
I don't know if I made a pick for that yet, but like you know how I'm doing it, where I have one of our guys as the picture and then our list on the side. I haven't been doing this because I could have done it for Minka. I could have put Minka as my picture.
Well, I noticed even with with the safeties, I noticed with the it wasn't receivers, but with linebackers I don't
want to make you look bad on social, just because I know if I put the Steeler guy there, it's going to even be more fanfare of, Deke's right.
Hey, I don't be tripping on it, because when you read the comments, though, you'll see like the ones who really are
I guess
unbiased.
That's my question. Are you cool with, I think, for the next one? Because I usually try to find a guy that we differ on and make
it's simple.
That.
You're going to have Ben on yours for quarterback.
I know, but
I'm going to have Mahomes on mine for quarterback.
I think I need to put TJ for the edge rushers for mine.
You should. Whoever I thought whoever we have as our one, if it differs, that should be the picture. That's what I thought you were doing, or whoever we're like very passionate about. So like for linebackers,
I think I would have put Minka as my, because I put Matthew as my safety.
Yeah, and for mine, who did you have as my safety? Was it Jamal?
I think it was James. It was James. Even though we had James in the same spot, I know you're high on
James. Yeah. And then with the linebackers, you had Leonard for yours. I had Tremaine because I'm a big Tremaine fan right now. So absolutely, yeah. So I think when we do our edge rushers, Chandler Jones for mine, TJ Watt for you, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me, man. We talked about this before. It shows up very clear when we get a very biased, like, all Steelers in, because watch when you post it with TJ and then watch when you post your quarter ranking with Ben, and just read the comments, and it's going to tell you everything you need to know right there. And that's from an IG standpoint. When you go to YouTube, it's completely unbiased on YouTube. I feel like that's like the true crowd. That's why I always shout the YouTube people out, because we read the YouTube comments,
because we got like our full videos, like even the full podcast video, but then we have them broken down into like 5, 6, 7, even like 10-minute segments, to where you're listening to the whole conversation. You're kind of getting the context.
Whereas on IG, it's a 60-second just this, and people just go crazy on it. They don't even care about facts. It's like, yep, that's the guy. I don't care. That's the guy. So that's why I'm always like, yo, the YouTube gonna tell you the truth, man. YouTube, they be up there. Whew. Yeah. It's always fun. To say the least, it's always fun.
Yeah, dude. So I guess that's it. So yeah, I'll have TJ on my next one and Ben on my, my quarterback one.
hey, and that's your brand, so it's good, bro.
All right, man.
Yeah, so it's all love, man. But no, this was good, man. This was fun, man. Like I said, man, we got to keep the conversation going though, from a just a racial inequality standpoint, social injustice standpoint, man. That does not stop. And I encourage all the subscribers and listeners, man, to get more involved. Figure out ways you can help out in your community to make everything just better as a whole. It's going to be a collective effort. It's not just a me and Deke thing. It's not just a me thing. Everybody has to get involved with this, man. So that's what it is with that, man. Once again, though, man, this was fun. This was a blast. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like I said, all the subscribers, everybody that's been showing us love, man. Major love. And until next time,
peace.